Happy, what is today? Is it March 5th, is it? It's a Tuesday. Yeah, it is a Tuesday. How y'all doing out there? It's Tom Bukovac coming at you. The Starship Trooper from the great state of Cleveland. Downtown Nashville. I'm a Southern man now. Over half my life spent in the South, you know. Old Southern man, look at my life. Man, somebody was just asking me the other day, what do you like better, the North or the South? I don't want to open a can of worms here. But I am pretty qualified to answer this question, seeing as I spent half my life in both places. They both have their ups and downs, you'd say. I do like the laid-back Southern mentality a little more, to be honest. No offense to anyone up there. You know, I'm a Yankee. True, you know, way down in my heart, I'm still a Yankee. But see, I like to chat it up with waiters and waitresses in restaurants and bartenders. You know, you can't do that in the North. They think you're weird when you try that shit up north. But in the South, it's expected, you know. I'm a social animal, I suppose you'd say. You know, I like to chat it up with the cashier, you know, at Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, that kind of thing. What are you doing this weekend? I'll say things like that, you know. Not in a creepy way. I'm not trying to be creepy, just trying to be friendly, you know. Any plans this weekend? You know, that's what they'll say in the South when you're checking out in some line somewhere. They'll say things like that. Even at Publix grocery store, they'll say things. Oh man, just taking it easy with the kids. You know, I'll say things like that. You know, friendly. The South is very friendly. Today is day 2 of my famous Nicky G sessions. Looking forward to it. I'm gonna play some cool music. Nicky texted me last night on the way home from the session. He's like, dude, you're not gonna believe what just happened. He was driving home from the session, coming down 40. And right next to him, an airplane crashed. A small plane. You can look it on the news. Right next to him, he said he could feel the heat through the window from the fireball of the car. He thought he hit somebody behind him, but turned out it was a small airplane crashing. It's all over the news. 5 people died in the plane, but thank God they didn't take out an entire rush hour full of people. That would have been terrible. I suppose this is a bit after rush hour, but it's a busy interstate nonetheless. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for all the comments last night about the Uncle Larry's garage sale. All that stuff is sold. It all sold immediately. Anyone who didn't get what they were looking for, I apologize. It's a first come, first served basis. But don't worry, there'll be plenty more. I look around sometimes and I think, you know, when you got a guitar like that 57 Gold Top and that 58 verse, I was thinking about this the other day when I was doing those Morgan Wallen sessions. What's the point, really, in trying to play something else? Everything else you play next to it sucks. I mean, certainly other guitars have their character and they do this and that, things Les Pauls don't do, but oh man. I mean, it'd be like, you know, hooking up with Scarlett Johansson in her prime. And then what that would do to your taste, like chasing women. You'd be like, I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, no, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. That's kind of where I'm at with guitars. You know, I've got a bunch of great instruments and things like that. And I'll certainly keep all the major food groups of all the things you need. Bird, SG, Strat, you know, a Tele, and all those types of things. But man, you know, there ain't no beating those old Les Pauls. I'm sorry. I mean, my friend who originally turned me on to those old Les Pauls, was right. You know who you are. I'm looking directly at you. Okay, a couple things in the VCB. Thanks to a guy named Ryan for sending some old beer cans. That was very cool. We had a good time the other day. Me and the boys opened that box of old cans he sent, and we sort of went through them, and we picked the ones we really like, and we put them up with the ones we already had, type of thing. It was nice. Thank you for that, dude. Appreciate that. Let's see. Here's an old guitar that can be had very cheap, if anybody wants it. I picked this up in a package deal. I bought a bunch of gear from a guy, a whole package, and this is in there. I think it's a 1984 Gibson J45, all black, ebony, you would say. It's got some kind of, oops, sorry, that's extra crack, no extra charge. It's got a sticker on the inside that says 90th anniversary. So this must be a 90th anniversary. Yeah, so this must be, what are they saying? That Gibson started in 1894? I suppose that's right. That makes sense. Orville Gibson and all that. But it sounds great. Plays great. Here I stand, head in hand. You can do that, you know, on this thing for cheap. How about $2,000 for this guitar with a nice hard shell case? How about that? Get you a vintage acoustic for cheap. Sold American, if you want it. That's probably way less than they're asking on the interwebs. Doesn't have a pickup, but I got a pickup. I'm American. You can do that on it. You can shred. All right, a couple things in the VCB. One guy said, "Hey Tom, what scales, modes, guitar concepts should I be practicing?" Okay, I'm not making a joke out of this because this is very serious. But here's what you should be practicing. You should be practicing listening to records and trying to totally zone in on the target emotion of those records. Listen to music like a film producer. You know, instead of thinking, oh, that's a G chord, C chord, think of it as in it's a movie and you are trying to get as close as you can to the emotional concepts of that music. Like, for example, when you put on certain records, they are worlds, okay? They have their own environments. There are some records, as soon as they come on, they completely strangle you, and they are such a world that you cannot deny them. That's because there's emotion in there, and that's what makes music great, okay? When you're a musician, your job is to connect with the emotional target of what somebody's writing or playing and try to play things that match that tonally, emotionally, okay? This is the part of music that people fail to understand. Guitar playing is just silly, okay? I kind of sometimes wish that I would have picked a different instrument but like, you can conjure a lot of emotions with a guitar. And I have tried desperately to figure out all those ways to make people feel something from what some of the sounds that I'm making, right? It has nothing to do with scales and modes and any stuff. This is the cinematic side of guitar that in music. And it goes along with another question that a guy said, "Hey Tom, you play with a lot of amazing drummers and bass players. What makes a drummer great? What makes a bass player great?" It's the same thing that makes a piano player great, a guitar player great, a singer great, an engineer great. They have to be great musicians. You have to understand how a song works, understand how music works, understand that every sound you make has an emotion attached to it. And you have to learn how to target those sounds and emotions to make people feel things when you play music. That's what you should be doing instead of worrying about what mode you're in. Okay? Conjure emotions is your job, no matter how you do it. If you have to have a massive pedal board to do that, great. If you don't, great. However you can find a way to conjure emotions, that's what you should be doing. And I'm not just saying sad emotion. I mean all emotions. You know, every record has a world, and every good record. And there's a lot of records that have worlds that you don't want to be in at all, ever, for any reason. But you should learn how to get all those feelings with your instrument. That's what you should do. That's what's more important than playing scales and modes. Okay, hey Tom, how are you surviving the dead zone after football season's over? Man, it's painful. It sucks. I hate it. But I'm doing my best. Thanks for asking. Hey Tom, are you an SRV fan? Oh, of course. You know, every guitar player loves Steve Ray Vaughan. You know, I mean, I never met him or any of that stuff. I was a bit young, and I wasn't. You know, as you guys well know, I'm not much of a blues man. You know, but I never bought a Stevie Ray record or anything like that. But I always thought he was a fine guitar player, and I respect the fact that he had his own style and that he played like he meant it. He played like a man. He played like a ferocious animal, man. He was going for it. He had something he wanted to say, and he did it. Not really my cup of tea, you know, but who cares? It's you know, I mean, I'm not a big, you know, I'm not in that type of music that much, you know, but I respect him, and I think he's amazing. And I wasn't quite as happy about the millions of imitators that he spawned, but he was something. And would have loved to meet him, play music with him, because I'll bet he was a cool guy. Hey, one guy just said, this guy named Paul something, he just said, I love you. That's so sweet. Thank you. Very simple, to the point. I love you too, man. Thank you all you homeschoolers. One guy said, can you talk about your days in the Trigger Hippies with Nikki G, the jam band that I was in? I think I've talked about some of this in the past, yeah. Particularly relevant to me today because I'm working with the bass player, Nikki G. And every time I get together and play music with him, I always think about the old days when we were in that band. That band consisted of me and Nikki G on bass, and he wrote all the songs. He was the guy in the band that could write songs. Steve Gorman, founding member of the Black Crowes on drums, Joan Osborne vocals, Jackie Green guitar and keys. And on a good night, we could tear the roof off a place, and on a bad night, we were about the worst band you could ever see. We were totally dependent on the vibe and the crowd. If we had a banging gig with a really good crowd that was into it, we could light the place on fire. And then on a bad night, it would be like the worst shit you ever heard in your life if we weren't in the mood to play. That's my feeling about that band. And I think a lot of bands are like that. Our music was kind of party music, and when there was no party going on, there wasn't much happening. But man, on some good nights, there could be some elevation taking place. You know, a lot of fun playing with those guys. Joan Osborne's great. She's still a dear friend. I've always been a huge fan of her music and her as a person. And we had a good time. Traveling around in a shitty van. I was way too old to be doing that stuff. That's the kind of shit you do when you're in your 20s. You know, we had a one-man crew who would run sound for us, tear down all the gear, and then drive us 6 hours to the next city through the middle of the night in a shitty Econoline van. And I met many nights sitting back there thinking, I've got kids. What the hell am I doing out here? We weren't making any money. I was just kind of doing it to sort of relive the days of rock bands in my past that I missed. And man, there was a couple moments when I questioned my existence out there, I'll tell you that. But I look back on some of the videos, and we made a really fun record in my garage. And I still like that record, actually. There's some really cool shit on there, I think. But what the hell do I know? Okay. But you know what's great about all those people are still dear friends. We broke up and everything, but there was a little bit of bum out for a while, but we're all still friends. Everything's cool. Who's not gonna be friends with old Larry? Come on, man. All right. So anything else here? Hey, Tom, do you think all great musicians have an analytical mind? Not really. Yeah, maybe. I know some are certainly more analytical than others. Some guys just sort of go with the flow and they play and they don't really want to be George Martin. And then other guys, like me, I'm trying to do everything. Like, I'm more worried about what the guy in the room playing the world is doing than what I'm doing. I've always had this sort of, I don't know, overarching thing when I'm on a session. I just want it to be great, and I want everybody to be playing the right shit in my mind. And when it's banging, I'm excited. When it's not, I can get a little crusty. So I'm in a good mood today because I know we're going to play some good music today, and we got some guys that can really play, and that's cool. All right, I think that's it. If you want this guitar, let me know. 2 grand with the case. This will be somebody's favorite guitar. Just ain't mine. It's kind of sad sounding. I like a sad acoustic. That's a G. All right, friends. See you later.